Hey everyone, Boardgame Brody here with Meeple Mountain. I have a very good looking prototype copy of Dead Reckoning, a new game from John D. Clare published by the infamous AEG. Dead Reckoning is a mid to heavyweight pirate game of exploration and piracy. Each player commands a ship represented by this board that can be modified to your liking, and also a mini on the game board to navigate the seas and visit these islands. Players have their own crew represented by these starting 12 cards, which can be modified by adding advancements, and also upgrading them by flipping over the cards from the sleeve to gain increased powers and actions. Your goal in the game is to be the richest pirate with the most gold in your treasure chest at the end of the game. Let me explain the basis of the game, and then I will highlight certain features of the game that make me super excited about this game. So the game is set up and looks something like this. As you play the game, you'll be exploring more and more of these ocean tiles and flipping them over. The game is a sandbox game because you have many options that you can choose where and what to do. Similar to Scythe, Dead Reckoning has 9 achievements that you can earn, and the end of the game is triggered when a player gets any 4 of the 9. These achievements consist of winning battles with your ship, sinking a ship, upgrading your crew, building buildings on islands you control, gaining a certain amount of money, settling islands, upgrading your ship, exploring and flipping over ocean boards, and gaining and paying cargo. Since the game ends when a player fulfills 4 of these, you can play the game very differently, focusing on different amount of these achievements each time that you play the game. So to gain these achievements, you will need to choose the action that supports those outcomes the best that you can. Players play the game in turns one after another. A player will perform the main action on their turn by taking as many actions as they would like of all the possible actions. The player's amount of supplies, their ship upgrades, and the layout of the map might limit your choices, but as you improve these things, you will be able to do more actions. The list of the actions that you can do on your turn are load or unload or rearrange cargo and coins. Play a card from your hand. Set sails. Move your ship. Buy the advancement card or resolve the encounter card in your ship's current space. And or use an ability of a played card. Now to get an idea of your turn, it might look a little like this. You will play a card from your hand, then you might buy the advancement card on that space that you're at. You then can unload cargo, set sails, load the cargo back on, move to a new ocean board, play another card, use an ability, buy another advancement card, move again, play 2 cards from your hand, and then fight the ship that's in pirate mode. As you can see, each player will lead their turn with multiple decisions, and each time they get closer to an achievement, they will be adding cubes to certain achievements on the board until they have enough to unlock that achievement. But remember, the game is all about gaining the most coinage. So just because you end the game by getting the 4 achievements doesn't mean that you won. With the main phase of your turn being the bulk of your decisions, when you're done, you'll perform the cleanup phase. But this is done at the same time that the next player starts their main phase of their turn. So in the cleanup phase, you will refill the advancements or encounters on the board and choose if you want to be in pirate mode or not before the next player goes. Then you will move your sail token down to 0, as you will lose any unused sails. You will then sleeve your advancements that you gained to only cards that you use that turn. Lastly, you will discard your played cards to your discard pile and draw new cards for your next turn. Your crew cards are the deck building and deck crafting aspect of the game. You won't gain more than the 12 cards, but those 12 cards will change by adding advancements to them and also upgrading them by flipping the level card over. Now, let me show you the features of the game. Just know that your goal is to get the most coins at the end of the game. You will most likely be doing a little bit of all these options in the game that I'm going to talk about, but you can specialize in being the best at a certain area. All the features I'm going to talk about let you change your methods to fix up a strategy that you want to play. And just like AEG says, win your way. Let's first talk about my favorite part of the game, the cards. Similar to John D. Clares's other design, Mystic Veil, this game uses those transparent cards that lets you modify your 12 crew members, letting crew members gain experience and added traits to help you form a strategy. Your starting crew have all basic abilities. This icon means that if you're on an island, you can place an influence cube on that island trying to gain control. This icon lets you take a cargo from the supply and add it to your harbor. Sometimes this icon will appear with a ship instead of the harbor icon to let you know that the cargo will be stored on your ship instead of the harbor. This sail icon doesn't have an action, but when you perform the set sail action, you will count up all those sails that you have on your cards and on your shipboard and place the cube on the total number of your sail track. Each time you move to an adjacent ocean board, you will move the cube down one space. So the more sail icons you have, the farther and faster you can sail. This card means for one island, you can produce on it. You don't need to control an island to produce on it, but you most likely will want to. To produce, you will look at the island board, and right here will list the production. Sometimes when an open ocean board is placed next to the board, it will list an added production on the edge of that board. And if you built an outpost building on that island, it will add even more for you to produce. Whatever is produced will be added to that island, and it's important to know that you can only load cargo and coins from an island that you control. So most likely, you will want to produce on your islands, or islands which you plan on controlling very soon. When looking at your crew members on the right side on the bottom, you can see what level 2 will add to your abilities. If and when you want to upgrade that crew member, you can check there to see what the upgrade is, as well as you can look at the reference card. These cards are a big focus in the game as you can change your crew toward your strategy. Want to play with some heavy fighting? Well, focus on upgrading your captain, the gunners, and the bosun, and gain advancement cards that include more cannon symbols. Cannons help you in battles. Maybe you want to be more of a merchant. Well, you focus on your first mate, your purser, and the crew, and look for advancement cards that give you additional island production. An explorer will focus on their deckhand, the buccaneer, and the bosun, while gaining sail icons early in the game. There are so many different combinations of advancements that can be added to your cards, as well as different cards you focus on to upgrade. Let's talk about the difference between these two. Advancements will be laid out on each ocean board, and when one is purchased by a player after their turn, a new one will be placed back out. All of these advancements on the board will list the cost in the top right. And the further you move out, the better and more expensive these advancements are. When purchasing, you will pay the cost using cargo from your ship and keep the card nearby to sleeve during your cleanup phase. There are 3 different slots per card where the advancements can fit, so plan accordingly. Cards like this let you gain whatever is on the left of the X for the number of icons you have on your card listed on the right. This card shows a green line in which you can use either or both abilities listed. If the card has a red slash, it means use one or the other listed icon. Besides advancements, encounters might be placed out on the ocean boards as well. They are mixed in with the advancements in each level box. In this base game, the only encounters are merchant ships and have hidden information on the back side. So when pulling them from the box, make sure you do not flip the card over. You can resolve a merchant ship by either trading with it or attacking it. Trading is just like buying an advancement. You pay the cargo listed on the card, and you gain the ability shown. When attacking, you will perform a battle, and the backside of the card will show the outcomes if you win or lose the battle. So in addition to purchasing advancements to make your cards better, you can also upgrade them. After your turn is completed and the next player is performing their turn, you will need to choose one card from your hand to upgrade, giving you better abilities. When upgrading to the level 2, you will pull the card from the sleeve and rotate it 180 degrees and then reinsert it. To upgrade to level 3, you will then have to flip the card over on the other side and re-sleeve it. Just remember, adding advancements are done to played cards, while upgrading is done to cards left in your hand. So planning is very essential. Now, this card upgrade is nice because it happens after every single turn. But the planning for it and the advancements makes this feature very enjoyable, and you gain the feeling of getting a better crew on your ship. Everyone in the game is progressing in some way. Now, in addition, when playing, you need to plan which advancement you might want and what card you want to add that advancement to, as there are only 3 different spots on a card to place the advancements. This will add into the planning as well. Move your ship further from the harbor and gain better and better advancements. Just make sure that you have enough cargo to pay for them. The next feature that I want to show you is very similar to upgrading your crew, but you will also be upgrading your ship. Whenever your ship is on the harbor board, you can move any number of cargo from the dock tile onto your ship, or whatever's on your ship to your dock tile. You can also do this at an island that you control. Hopefully you are producing on an island that you control, and then you can move any of that cargo or coins from the island onto your ship. Your ship has 4 whole spaces that list the capacity your ship can hold, with each cargo and coin counting as 1. At the beginning of the game, this first slot gives you a sail icon and can hold 4 items. The second and third are blank, and you can add tiles to either hold more items, add more cannons to fight better, or add more sails to sail faster and further. The last space adds a sail and a hole to hold 3 items, so you can hold 7 items total with your starting ship. Eventually you can add tiles on top of others or on top of your first and last slots to customize your ship for your strategy. To add tiles, you will need to purchase an advancement to add to one of your cards, and then use that card, paying the listed cargo or coin to add either a basic or an advanced tile depending on what the card lists. Again, I love how you can focus on the cannons if you're all about the fighting. More sails if you want to go and check out all those ocean boards. Or even customize your ship to hold the most cargo to be the master merchant. And all of these options still, altogether, depending on whatever you do, let you upgrade your ship and become an elite vessel. You will find that all 9 of the achievements overlap somehow or another, with many different strategies, and there is no best way to go about them, as you will be doing all of them. I also really like how you can pick from all of the available upgrades. If you really want to focus on a certain type of ship, then you're not going to be stuck with not being able to get what you want, because all of the upgrade tiles for your ship are all available. And this really makes that ability worth getting to add to one of your cards. Now, I want to mention how you can control islands, and when you control islands, you can take the cargo and the coin that get produced on it. So this is one of the many ways that you can get more stuff in the game. And this stuff is turned and propelled into whatever strategy that you're going for, probably mostly more advancement cards. So going back to those cards that let you add influence cubes onto an island, when adding your cubes, you'll be adding them in this column here, as this other column over here is for the permanent cubes that will never leave. If there is no empty slot, you will need to replace someone else's cube with yours, giving that player their cube back. To control an island, you will need to have more cubes on the island in both columns than any other player, and have more cubes than the number of empty slots on the island. Each time a player takes control of an island, they get to add one of their cubes to the permanent area, making it easier to control that island. Someone can come along and add more cubes in the slots than you have, and they will take control and add a permanent cube to theirs. If you take it back, then you will be able to add another permanent cube on that island. It's important to control islands because at the end of the game, whoever has the most cubes will gain the top listed point value. The second most will gain the second listed coin value, and the third will gain the third listed value. And since the object of the game is to have the most coins, then controlling islands can be a big part of winning the game. When you control an island, you also might want to build buildings on it to protect it from other players and help produce more cargo and coin to use for your strategy. So to be able to build these buildings, you will need a card ability listing the action, and then you will pay the listed cost of cargo or coin to pay for it. Another way you can make sure that no one comes and takes your island from you is you can go into pirate mode at the end of your turn. You raise the blackjack and everyone knows if they stop on that tile, then they will fight you. Although players can still move through you without stopping, without provoking a fight. The fight system in the game is really fun to do, and it is great because it doesn't take a very long time to do, as this feature doesn't take over the gameplay. It just adds to it. You can fight player versus player, player versus non-player, and player versus building. They all follow similar flow with some little differences. The main flow is you're going to count out and take the battle cubes from both sides. You're going to drop all those cubes in at the same time. You're going to resolve any battle abilities. Then you're going to resolve the battleship and see where those cubes are at. And then you will determine the outcome of the fight. Let's start with player versus non-player. So first you will determine the number of battle cubes by counting up the number of cannons that you have either on your shipboard or from played out cards. Each cannon icon will produce one cube. Now for the other side, the encounter card will show you how many black cubes that they get. With all the cubes in your hand, you will drop them all together into the top of the battleship. The cubes will be resolved by first seeing if any cubes landed in the exploding shot area. If so, this cube is removed and dropped again into the battleship along with one extra cube of the same color. Battle abilities can then be used by playing cards or using abilities listed on already played out cards that haven't been used yet. Battle abilities consist of dropping additional cubes, moving cubes to adjacent spaces from where they landed, taking less damage if you win, or letting you draw a card and letting you play it. In a player versus player battle, you will simply take turns playing battle effect cards until both players pass. Next, any cubes that landed in the plunder areas are removed and the owning player gains the indicated cargo and or coin. This plunder must be placed in your ship, or on the island where the battle took place, or discarded back into the supply. Now of course there is damage associated with this battle for both sides. Each cube that is on one of these zones are removed and the owning player causes one damage token to the opposing player by placing that token on their shipboard. Dealing damage does not let you win the battle, but if a player gets 5 damage tokens on their ship at the end of the battle, then their ship sinks. If it receives the 5th damage token not during battle, then it will immediately sink. But in battle, you will finish it out before sinking. The player or the side with the highest battle strength from the crowns wins the battle. If there is a tie, then the active player wins. If you ended up sinking your ship, then if you had 5 or more coins on your ship, then you will lose all of your coins that were on there. If you had less than 5, then you will keep all of your coin and lose 5 coins from your treasure chest instead. When fighting a player versus player battle, you'll be able to play cards before dropping the initial cubes, adding more cannon icons, which adds more cubes to your battle. The remaining of the battle continues just like I explained in the player versus non-player. The outcome, however, is different. The losing player places 1 damage token on their shipboard, and the winner adds 1 of their cubes to the legendary achievement, as they will need to win 4 battles to gain that achievement. Attacking buildings is different, as the defender gets 5 cubes if they have the fort, 2 if they have a garrison, and 7 if they have both. and they won't be able to use any cards. Now, only the attacker will be able to use their cards. Neither player gets the plunder, and if the ship wins, the buildings are removed. If the buildings win, then the ship takes 1 damage. For me, I really like this battle system because I feel like none of the 2 players are really hurt from it. You might eventually get enough damage that you sink, which isn't good, but you are able to collect more cargo and have more effects from your cubes landing on certain things on that board that I feel like it's kind of like a positive turnout for both players. The battle board is pretty nifty, and you would think that there's some type of probability probably with dropping the cubes and figuring out where they most likely will land. And there might be, but in my experience, the uneven surfaces causes the cubes to stop in their place or to bounce off further at random. So after dropping the cubes down the battleship over and over and over again, I did not see a pattern at all. So there's just a random luck, and the more cubes that you have, the better you might do. Also, luckily, there are many cards that can help affect the outcome of a battle as well. And some games, players might choose not to fight all that much, so it all depends on players' strategies and desires. But I'd recommend at least doing some battles because the feature is pretty awesome to play through. Now, what I've talked about so far are the biggest features that make this game so different from other games. But within all the strategy and the thinking and the planning in this game, the simplicity of some of the lesser features help carry the game along and makes things easy to follow. I enjoy how simplistic the movement in the game is. Always before moving, you need to set your sails. And when setting sails, you might want to play additional cards in your hand with the sail icon if you want to journey a further distance. You will count up the sail icons from your played cards and from the ship and place the cube on that number. That is how many ocean boards that you can move on this turn. And movement is always to adjacent boards and not kitty corner. Another one of these simple features is the difference between having cargo and coins on your harbor versus your ship. It's really easy to understand, but there are some big differences between the two. Because to buy the advancements to sleeve into your cards, you will need to pay from your ship. So you will need to visit your harbor at times to collect cargo to sail the seas to purchase advancements. But then you will need to gain abilities where you will gain cargo and coins from islands or from card abilities, and then you might need to be dropping them off at your harbor. Well, maybe not the cargo, as you should probably use those to buy advancements, but the coins because you want to get those in your treasure chest to be counted as points at the end of the game. These small features added with the big features turn this game into an amazing experience, and the game also doesn't drag on. You can play it in about an hour and a half. Have you been talking about you wanted a pirate game with more meat on it? This is it. I also very much appreciate the amount of content in the game. I mean, look at all the ocean boards, and only 12 are used in each game, so plenty of variety forming the map each time you play. Plenty of cards found in each level of the advancements. I mean, check out all of these. And look at all the possible ship upgrades that you can choose from. And they definitely shot high on the components. I mean, this is a prototype here, and it's amazing. The cards feel like the cards in Mystic Vale, and this battle board has like a double layer of cardboard to form those little rivets so you know where the dice lands. But it's very sturdy for what it's going to be used for. And these side pieces are very easy to store in the box, and it's very easy to assemble. I didn't have to put the ship together, so I'm not sure how hard that is, but it does exactly what is needed to do. My only hopes with that is I hope that that is sturdy enough, because I feel like that might be the weakest link of something being destroyed. The cargo tokens are these cool wood pieces. The damage tokens are these even cooler tokens that look like this. The coins are metal coins, so the components are very high quality. The art hits the right spot, showcasing the tone of the game. Ian O'Toole is a very popular artist and carries the game with his expertise giving life and expectations that the game deserves. I can tell that the game is very well developed. The mechanics used in the game, which is many, all blend together to make for a fun 4X card crafting game. This game is now currently my top game of 2020, best pirate game and best card crafting game, and I expect to see it win many awards. I have to admit, when I first opened the game, I was very intimidated as there is a lot of stuff and the rulebook is of good length. I call the game a mid to heavyweight game because it feels very heavy when you first start to play it, but as you learn how to play it, then the game kind of transforms into that mid-weight area. And that is exactly what should happen with a game. Plus, the mechanics and the rules all make sense, matching the theme, and the game is intuitive after some plays. So grab your family and friends to set sail and raise the black flag in Dead Reckoning by AEG. Again, this is Boardgame Brody. I hope you enjoyed this video. Stick around and check out some other board game reviews to see what you might want to get to the table.